everybody. Welcome to the There Can Be Only One podcast. I'm Tiffany, your reigning champ from last season, and I'm guest hosting just this once. I will go over waivers, break down the matchups from last week and next week, and just share a few thoughts from a champion's perspective. I've never done this before, so bear with me and try not to judge, okay? Okay. Let me share something with you guys because I thought this was really funny. It's a video. Let's see. Let me get to the right page. Okay.
Cinnamon, get your thoughts on the game.
I hate this team. I was born into this, and I'm not gonna ever. I'm always a Jets fan, but like, I hate this team.
I thought that was hilarious. That poor kid is like in tears. Oh, the winless Jets. You know, I may be a Cowboys fan, whatever, but at least I'm not a Jets fan. So, anyways, I thought that was funny, so I wanted to share. I am not going to share the screen for the rest of this like Tyler usually does, just because, it's throwing me off. So I'm just going to talk to you guys, but let's go ahead and talk waivers. Starting out, Ben grabs Oronde Gadsden for $16. That was our highest fab bid of the week. So, I think that's a nice pickup. I wanted to go for him. I don't have enough fab. That is what it is, but nice pickup, Ben. Kim lands Tez Johnson for $12. I really like that move, with Mike Evans out, and I think Godwin's out too. I don't know. So Tez could be like a really sneaky, solid play this week. We'll see. Tim gets the Colts defense for $7. Lots of people bid on that one. I was one of them, but I figured I didn't have enough fab to put down on it to get them, and I was correct. But yeah, I like that pickup. Ben adds Jackson Dart for $6. Lance grabs Brashard Smith for $4. Okay, that's good. I picked up Xavier Legette for $2. My thinking, Bryce Young has a high ankle sprain. When Andy Dalton stepped in, Legette saw 57% of the target share, and I was sold on that. And Bryce, when you have a high ankle sprain, like the data shows that you are either out 0 weeks or you are out a minimum of 3 weeks. So I don't wish injury or pain on anybody, but I really hope that Brees is going to be out for a few, just so that target share sticks around for Legette. Lance got the Bills defense. I picked up Kyle Monangai for $2. I needed another running back, so I'm happy that one worked out. Ben added Justice Hill for $1. Becker grabbed Keon Coleman for $0, and then I grabbed the Falcons defense for $0. They play Miami this week, and Tua's looking rough, so I feel good about that one. But yeah, not a crazy waiver week. A few solid pickups. Hopefully, they can make a difference down the stretch, but yeah, nothing crazy there. Let's go over our week 7 matchup recap here. And we will start with me and my dad, Tim. This one was so close. So going into Monday night, my team was completely done. I had no one left. He still had Nico Collins and only needed 13 and a half points. So I was like, yep, this is over. I lost. He won. Okay. But Nico put up 6.7 points before leaving with a concussion. I somehow pulled out the win. I'm still shocked by that. On my side, Dak, Tyler Warren, CeeDee Lamb, which, by the way, welcome back, CeeDee Lamb. Thank you. And surprisingly, Keenan Allen. They all had strong games. Achane and Kamara, well, they were a bit quiet. That's okay. Kendre Miller's out, so I think that will do well for Kamara moving forward. On Tim's side, Mahomes looking good, safe play. He's way better for fantasy this year than I expected, especially compared to the last couple of seasons. He's just not consistent whatsoever. But he is this year, so good for you. Cortland Sutton and Tucker Kraft also put up solid games, but the rest of his team they didn't get it done. Even George Pickens was quiet. I think that had more to do with just CD's first big game back. Dak's playing really well, and that Cowboys defense is just trash. So I think CD and Pickens can both thrive going forward, but we'll see. Moving on to the next matchup was Tyler and Becker. Tyler blew Becker out of the water. He won by like 44 points. His team just went off. So big performances from CMC, Drake May, JSN, Josh Jacobs, and the Patriots defense. And I know that he's thrilled to have Egbuka back as well. And, he's not out for an extended period of time. I think Egbuka could have even had a bigger game than what he did. But I think Baker was just off that night. Baker was, I don't know, not on his game. I think he was kind of overthrowing a little bit, if I remember correctly. So, but yeah, so not Egbuka's fault there. Becker's team kind of just underperformed across the board, except for Trey McBride and Bijan Robinson. Wandell, he also had a solid 15 points, but that Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle split really hurt. Rome Odunze and Breece Hall, they didn't do much either. Hopefully Breece gets traded somewhere that can actually use him. We'll see, but and then there's Caleb Williams. Rough week. I know that they won the game, but he had a horrible fantasy game. And I'm pretty sure that Becker already dropped him, if I saw that correctly. And if that's the case, yeah, I don't blame you. But yeah, Tyler continues to dominate. Moving on. Jordan versus Ben. Jordan had a monster week, 168 points. That's the highest score in the league this week. Bo Nix turned it on late, ended up with 39 points. That's amazing. Johnny Taylor is a beast with 34 points. Jamar Chase had his biggest week yet, 38 points. He was the wide receiver 1 on the week. Ramondre even chipped in a decent performance this week as well. He had a few low spots, Brian Thomas, Kenneth Gainwell, they didn't do much. But other than that, Jordan's team had a great showing this week. On Ben's side, it's a tough week for Ashton Genty, Tet, and Laporta. They all had down games that really hurt. But there were some bright spots. Quinshon Judkins had 3 touchdowns and 26 points. He looked great. Amon-Ra St. Brown doing his usual thing. And Rashee Rice, who is officially back in wide receiver 10 on the week in his first game back. So good for you. Jordan Addison and Travis Hunter both had solid games on Ben's bench too. He could have potentially won if he played these guys, I think. Hindsight's 2020, and honestly, I wouldn't have put either of them in my starting lineup over his other options either. But that's besides the point. So, Lance versus Kim. So, Lance pulled out a win this week, and honestly, he needed that. It was a pretty close match overall, though. On Lance's side, he got some strong games from Jalen Hurts, Javonte Williams, and Devonta Smith, surprisingly, and the Browns defense, which makes sense since they played Miami and absolutely went off for 26 points. Kenneth Walker, though, another down week. I always expect him to be better than he actually is. On Kim's side, Baker Mayfield had a low-scoring week. Already kind of talked about that. He just looked a little off that night. So low-scoring week compared to what he's been, all season. Saquon Barkley had another rough outing too. That's tough, and I know that one hurts a lot. But she did get solid games from Swift, Devontae Adams, Michael Pittman, and Jaylen Warren. So those all looked good. She had a big hit with Mike Evans, 0 points, and now a broken collarbone. I feel so bad for that dude. That's brutal. Especially since he was coming back from another injury. I just feel so bad for him. But yeah, really unlucky week all around for Kim. Moving on, the last matchup of the week. Matt versus Lovett. So Matt came out on top by about 25 points. He had solid performances from Danny Jones. AJ Brown finally showed up again. Chris Olave had a great week. And Ladd McConkey, he did all right too. And I'm sure Matt is looking forward to getting James Cook back next week and maybe Lamar Jackson. We'll see. But on Lovett's side, Jaden Daniels had an okay game before going out with a hamstring injury. That sucks. Jahmyr Gibbs, though, he's so good. He had 36 points. I love that guy. He is like a big part of the reason why I won last year. So I love him. Jake Ferguson also had 2 touchdowns. He had a great game. And Cam Scattaboo, who I've been calling the wrecking ball, he put up another solid performance as well. But yeah, those guys pretty much carried his team. But, unfortunately, Jalen Waddle didn't do much. But again, I think that's just a product of Tua and his struggling. Same story for Kyron Williams and Matthew Golden, both pretty quiet games. Yeah, that wraps up week 7. So let's move on to week 8 and take a look at the upcoming matchups. So first up, I'm facing off against Kim this week. Mother. And I think this one's going to be close. I like my side, Dak Prescott going up against Denver, which should be fine. Achane, he's been solid all season besides, being on the same team as Tua. Miami sucks, but Achane's been fine. I can rely on him. And I'm expecting CeeDee Lamb to just keep doing CeeDee things and be amazing as usual. Tyler Warren against the Titans, totally fine with that. No concerns there. And my Falcons defense gets to face Miami. So that's typically pretty good. On Kim's side, Baker Mayfield should have a decent week against New Orleans. Hopefully he doesn't, hopefully he gets back on his game this week. Saquon Barkley, is this going to be a revenge game against the Giants? I don't know. Maybe he'll finally pop off this week. Hopefully not for my sake, I guess, since I'm playing against you, but who knows? Maybe he will. I think Michael Pittman will also do well versus the Titans. The Colts offense, they've just been clicking, so I'm sure he'll do fine. The one I'm not so sure about is Travis Kelce, now that Rashee Rice is back. I think that might eat into Kelce's volume a little bit, but, we'll see. Overall, I like my matchups better. I think I've got more upside with a few of my guys, and while it will probably be close, I'm calling it. I think I'll pull out the win this week. I hope I do. All right, Tyler versus Matt. So honestly, I have to give the edge to Tyler. The reason, Christian McCaffrey. Well, there's a few reasons, but he's the top one. He's just too big of an advantage. The guy's a cheat code. Like we've all said this, and just pairing him with Josh Jacobs gives Tyler just a killer RB duo. So good. And Tyler does have JSN on a bye this week, which does hurt because he's been killing it too. But CMC is just too good. On Matt's side, he has AJ Brown, Chris Olave, and James Cook. But I don't know, that just feels a little more volatile to me. If all 3 of them can hit, they're all great players. Oops. All right. Sorry, my alarm went off. If all 3 of them can hit, then I think that his team could maybe keep up with the pace, but to me, like McCaffrey is just the X factor here. That is what it is. Other than that, neither of their tight ends, really, neither of them are a game changer this week. So, yeah, I'm picking Tyler to win this one. Next up, we have Ben versus Lovett. Lovett has a huge hole to fill with his quarterback. Jaden Daniels is out for sure. And Lovett didn't pick up another QB, so I'm sure that he has a waiver claim in for one, but he doesn't have another one on his team at the moment. However, for this matchup, I am leaning Ben because of his wide receiver sack with JJ. and Rice. Rice in particular has a great matchup against Washington. Like, I think he's going to have an awesome week. And then Judkins as well. He plays New England, which seems to be kind of, I think, a middle of the pack matchup, but I think he'll be okay. And, hopefully Gadsden will work out for Ben as well. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I don't know. Lovett's team is just, I don't know, built on high floor, I guess. I think it's the right way to say that. Scadaboo and Ferguson are great plays. And that's cool, but I don't know. I'm picking Ben to win this one. Next up, Jordan versus Lance. So I like Jordan's side a little bit more, though I think Lance could make this interesting. My reasoning is Bo Nix and Jonathan Taylor. That is why I lean Jordan. Plus his team has just been hitting. So, Bo Nix plays Dallas, which we know how that goes. And then Taylor should have a really good game against Tennessee. And Chase can easily put up big numbers against the Jets too. All of that looks really good in his favor. However, on Lance's side, Hurts and Devontae Smith could have another big week against the Giants if they can connect for a couple touchdowns. But it's just a matter of, will that happen? Devontae Smith is just so boom bust, I guess. But he has Javonte Williams as well. And that should be a strong game, which at this point it's looking like Javonte Williams he's just good every week. So that looks good. Lance has Kittle as well. So we'll see if he can get involved this week. I don't know. So if people can hit on Lance's side, he could keep up the pace, but he's going to have to get kind of lucky, I feel like. But I'm picking Jordan to win this one. That's what I'm feeling. Last matchup for week 8. We have Becker versus Tim. And honestly, I think this one can be really close. I'm leaning Becker, but I do feel like it could go either way. So my reasoning is because of Josh Allen and Bijan Robinson. So, Allen's got an okay matchup against Carolina, and Bijan plays Miami. So that's a big edge there. I love being able to play people against Miami. The rest of Becker's team is kind of a will they, won't they situation. Odunze, Breece Hall, Rico Dowdle, Chuba, J.K. Dobbins. They all have good matchups, but I don't know. With Chuba back, Dowdle's touches feel uncertain. I'm just not sure what they're going to do. On Tim's side, Mahomes is safe. That's good. Henry is back, so hopefully he can get things going and not fumble. Jordan Mason has a solid matchup. Cortland Sutton gets Dallas, which is also good. Another team that I love to play against. And Pickens could also bounce back now that CeeDee's active. Nico Collins and Garrett Wilson being questionable is definitely a hit. That sucks. But he's also got the Colts defense against Tennessee, which I think will also be good. So I'm saying Becker will win, but just because Allen and Bijan give him that little extra boost. So yeah, we'll see. I think that is it. This might be one of the shortest podcasts of the year, but that is what it is. It'll be easy to listen to. So that is a wrap for this week's podcast. Hopefully I didn't butcher it too badly. If you'd like to be a guest on the pod, we would love to have you. I know Tyler would love to have you, so don't be shy. It's really not that bad, I promise. Anyways, I wish you all the best of luck this week, and I will catch you all later. Bye.